This actual play is intended for mature audiences and contains themes some viewers may find upsetting. Please check each episode's show notes for specific content warnings and enjoy the show with care.
The Old Fire.
Narrate a flashback to a celebration in Allegiance Hall after a triumph. What act of vanity or excess went unnoticed or was quietly forgiven? It was uncommon for so many of the Nameless to gather at once for any reason, as each was bound to their own duties. More so unusual was the vapid chatter of nobility amongst those in the Legion Hall. A feast was set to honor their company, and by proxy the whole Legion, for their role in stopping a hidden siege of Amberell from the people of the depths below. The king had rewarded them handsomely, giving them land and free board anywhere within the capital, along with a great sum of coin that the Lord Commander summarily rejected. But he could do little to dissuade them from the party without offense. Ash allowed Blue to fuss with the edges of his regalia as they sat on a bench near a mason wall. Still recovering from the battle and nursing a black eye, Ash was already fed up with the smiles and the pretense and the high-pitched laughter from the daughters of House Oreen across the way. It set his teeth on edge, as it always had in the past. He recognized far too many people, banners of House Durellin and House Valcorin, ones he knew would likely call him by a name he no longer held, and so he's had his face set in a scowl all evening to deter any of them from approaching him. But he softened looking at Blue. Blue had twisted some of his dark hair into braids and elegantly woven his favorite blue ribbon between them, and Ash thought it was too much effort for one evening, but Blue had never experienced a feast from this side, and Ash would not spoil it for him with reminders of the oaths. Back in House Solanus, they had been Rowan and Zora, a servant and a minor lord, and when events like this had occurred, Zora had always searched for the earliest chance to sneak away with him, to shed his finery and eat sweetberry tarts by the horse stables, and he always caught his mother's ire and his father's backhand for his delinquency. But he was a boy in love, and in some ways he still was, and so the moment Blue stopped fussing with his clothes, Ash leant in and kissed him. Public displays of affection were not something he often did, but it brought him a quiet peace when Blue met him in desire and gave him a place to retreat in the crowd. But Shepard's limping approach, of course, broke him from the spell of love, and Ash noted the scent of frankincense coming from somewhere on his person, likely borrowed from the offering table. Perhaps it was his hair. It was slicked back away from his face, and his goatee was trimmed and oiled for the celebrations. He fixed Ash with a grin that spelled trouble and said, "Brother, I don't mean to disturb you, but I fear your squire has imbibed of a great deal of brandywine, for she is challenging Lord Commander Bear to a meat pie eating contest." And Ash, appalled, said, "By the lot above, did he seem in good spirits at least?" And Shepard hesitated, and so Ash quickly staggered to his feet, clutching at his bruised ribs to rescue Pluck. Shepherd called after him, "Worry not, I shall keep your dear one safe from the wandering eyes and ears of the aristocracy." And in his haste, for all his trouble, he was grateful for the family he had found, and the gods help anyone who would try to take it from him.
The shrine's fire.
Narrate a flashback to a time when your song offended the Wolf King. Gardens in the Sun Queen's domain are not quite as the gardens we would usually imagine. There is plant life, cactuses, succulents, the odd acacia tree, but the main focus is on beautifully elaborate fountains. And it is one such beautiful round fountain in the center of a garden that we look upon and see a young man, tall, broad of shoulder, stripped down to his undershirt in the blistering heat, sitting on top of the edge of the fountain, and sitting on top of him, lounging in his lap with her arm draped around his shoulders, twirling a curl of his dark hair around a finger, is Theia. They're giggling together, sharing some secret. And she sings in his ear, "Unbright, my soul, you tricksy thing. Oh, how I miss you in the night. But how I glow each new morning when I see you smiling in the light. My heart, it melts, my spirit soars when you are by my side. It seems to me, my fiery soul, we can cross this strange divide." He laughs and kisses her and stands, sweeping her up as he does so, and Theia can't help but let out a girlish squeal of delight as he spins her round and sets her down gently, standing in the spot on the edge of the fountain that he has just vacated. It's time for him to go. He makes his way over to a bench where, neatly folded, are the long white robes and heavy gold chain that marks his rank as the burnished intercessor. He takes her hand, kisses it goodbye, and she smiles and sees him off, and lingers for a while in the garden, making her way around the edge of the fountain, practicing some footwork for some dance or other she's been learning, and enjoying the quiet until for a moment, just a quick, almost imperceptible moment, that ever-brilliant blue sky darkens. And she hears inside her own skull, it seems, a low growl of disgust.
Start of session. A quick recap of active mysteries. The main mystery that you're all working on right now is the Branch Torn Knight. You currently have 5 clues for that complexity 6 question. How can you prove yourself worthy to the Branch Torn Knight? I think you're about to pick up a 6th clue from Make Camp, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, because, well, we had a clue, the tapestry showing a party hunting the first rays of a winter moon. Was that from a die roll?
Yeah, I think that was me. We found it was.
I think it was. Yeah,
an information
Lady
move.
Brynwald showed you that. Yeah. So we still are going to get a clue from once we complete the Make Camp move at Castle Brynwald. The other group, did you all define a clue at Make Camp?
No, I don't think we did.
I'm looking. I don't. No, there is a. I have a note of a memorial to a worthy challenger was scratched onto the 3 faces. Was that it, possibly?
That was the first time we went to the 3 faces.
Oh, okay. All right. So we need another one there as well. So you're actually starting this mystery or today with quite a few clues, assuming that the one you find on these Make Camps are for Branch Torn Knight. They could be for the Umber Slade or the Mandrake Monastery as well. We haven't really gotten too deep into those mysteries yet, so I'll just leave the recap there for now with those. In terms of your Lord clues, as we are nearing the end of our campaign arc, you have 7 Lord clues on the complexity 8 question, how can the spell that hides Liralen be lifted? I'm going to check in briefly with each of the embers. Ash, you are marked by the Black Cortege, and you are a friend of the Luminians. We are still on the journey to the Branch Torn Knight. I have a scene in mind that we have to kind of resolve before you actually arrive there. Theia, the waxing tone, ferocious, burned, and the time of the Wolf King is ending. And same thing, we're wrapping up Make Camp still, so I think we kind of know where we're kicking off there. Calyxe, you are Herald of the Speaking Root. Calyxe, did you have, I can't recall, did you have to visit any of your oracles at the Three Faces, or have you done that already?
I think I killed my oracle at the Three Faces.
Oh, okay.
So...
Are you going to be putting another one up?
Oh no, I put Mortis on the tree. I put Mortis on
Oh,
the tree.
the last step.
The last step.
The last step, sorry.
It was the last step, that's right.
All the Black Cortege look the same to me. So yes, visiting the last step.
Well, did you put him up this journey, or
The journey just gone, yes. Back to the Three Faces with Ash. Is that right?
Okay, so there's nothing else to do there, right? I think we're done. Okay, great. Fenwyn, you have Bloom Blindness, and you are beloved of Talmarin, or Talmarin. I need to look at his actual name here. It's kind of a hard name.
I think it's Talmaron.
Talmaron, yeah, Talmaron, the Ember Keeper. We're going to be wrapping up this Make Camp with you as well. Basically, we're going to get these Make Camps done and then get everybody sort of together at the Branch Torn Knight. And I think by then we'll be ready to answer the Branch Torn Knight question, or be awfully close to it, especially if you mark aspects for clues, in which case we'll be kind of transitioning into wrapping up that mystery. If anyone else has anything they want to do before we wrap up the Branch Torn Knight, make sure you let me know as we begin play. Go ahead and mark new end of session questions if you need to, or if you wish. Your mission from the Wolf King is the same as last time, Theia. And that is start of session done. Ash, out of character last time, I gave you the 12+ bonus of you would be able to intercept Vera, who is on her way to challenge the Branch Torn Knight. And indeed, we're going to have that scene now. This is as you're kind of getting closer to Lord Brynwild's lands. And you see her, she stands out. Even in the light of day, she stands out because she's wearing her white, her long white veil that she previously wore to symbolize that she was a bride of death. This is when she was a member of the Black Cortege. But now she wears, along with that white veil, she wears bands of green wrapped around her wrists, indicating her devotion to Noxiliax, the Emerald Nightmare, which we've learned about a little bit. And she's actually walking in this very, almost like she's in this sort of, not a trance, but she's walking, she has a sword, but she's just dragging it on the ground, so you can kind of hear the of the metal dragging in the dirt. She doesn't seem to have packed any kind of traveling gear or equipment. What do you do?
Ash, still with the blood of the Emerald God across his face. He's wiped most of it off, but it stains, and his face is retracted from a maw to look human. He steps towards Vera. "Milady, you travel far from where I last met you."
She She pauses, but there's a delay. Like it takes a moment for your words to sink in. And then she reacts and she turns and she says, "It has been so many years since we first met, Ember. I thought for certain the lands might have claimed you, since you never came back to the Morning Tower."
Not just yet.
Calyxe, are you
hoping-
there or are you doing something else?
I think Calyxe is close to Ash, but she's not interfering.
Sorry, go ahead, Ash.
I was helping some in need. Are you in need?
No. No, for the first time in decades, I know exactly what I must do.
What is
And
that?
what I must do is fully within my power. I'm going to challenge the Branch-Torn Knight and take his head as an offering to my betrothed, Noxiliax, the great dragon that rules these lands.
Noxiliax.
Yes. The great worm has visited me in my dreams and has done so for many years. I believe that I am to wed Noxiliax, and my true form will be revealed. And then we shall travel through all the lands remaining together and claim dominion.
Ash reaches towards Vera and places a hand on either side of her arms. He's far too close for someone holding a sword.
She has it like, it's like limp by her
Down.
side. Yeah, it's not like anything. She's not brandishing at all.
My Lady Vera, I fear this dragon has led you towards falsehoods. There will be no dominion with him. There will be nothing with him, for he will perish.
I would like for you to do the day move.
Mm.
What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail right now?
I'm afraid that she won't believe me and continue charging forward.
Seems reasonable. This is going to be with presence.
Glad I raised that. I'll just take it as is. 7.
I have to tell you how you'll be vulnerable. She is going to acknowledge that she may not be able to face the Branch-Torn Knight on her own. But if that's where you're going, perhaps she could stand with you against the knight. And indeed, that's what she says, if you have no objections to that.
I don't think he does.
Yeah, okay. Then Vera will travel with you to the lands of the liege lord Brynwild and his fabulous wife, the Lady Brynwild. Speaking of, Fenwyn, when we last saw, you were kind of putting this this young bereaved woman down to rest. Ifrin, broken by promise, the lover of Dame Floriath the Gallant, and friend of Talmaron the Ember Keeper. What do you do after that?
We find Fenwyn perched like a gargoyle atop of one of the turrets of Castle Brynwild. There's a light sheet of drizzle coming down, steady wind. And he is crouched. He has his hand out to the side, arm outstretched, hand open, waiting for something. He feels around for something that's on the stone next to him, and we see it's a flat piece of flint, and he nudges it slightly, moving its position, then licks his finger and checks the wind, moves it just a millimeter or two. Then we hear a as his harpoon comes down. He had thrown it incredibly high into the ground. It hits the flint, there's a spark, and he clutches it just as it starts to reverberate, and we see how Fenwyn sees the world now, his world of darkness, of blindness. And we see the kind of yellow energy pulsing out from this point of contact. We see it tracing the outline of this castle. We see it shimmering with this strange force that seems to protect it, a magic that can't quite be perceived or understood, especially by Fenwyn. We see as the epicenter spreads wider and wider, we see brave warriors collapsing to the ground, the memory of them becoming the headless bodies that now line the streets and fill every ditch. We see the pulse move further out through into the forest, and we sense great danger. We sense a great judgment of bark loose somewhere, searching. We sense a sleeping king of scale and fang, unseen, but there. And then we see the energy reach who he's looking for, Calyxe and Ash. And as the familiar feel of their presence comes back to him differently, he's reassured that they're still out there, but he's curious as to why they feel different. And armed with this information, he nimbly climbs down the tower and hitches himself through the window of the bedroom that Theia had been assigned. And Theia, do I find you in there?
Yes, you'll hear. Little mouse, I did wonder when you would come crawling through a hole in the wall. Warm water, can you believe it? And you'll hear the sort of splashing and lapping against the edge of the absurdly large clawfoot bathtub that is part of this room. And the scent of rose oils in the water. There's room enough for two.
Fenwyn edges his way through the bedroom and to the door of the chamber where this bath is, and still perhaps timid, refuses. And the fact that he can't see is also not going unnoticed, but bashfully doesn't look at Theia in the bath. Says, I've seen much on my vigil. The soldier and the witch are on their way here.
They live still. I had no doubt about the Shepherd of Lost Souls, but I did wonder if that splintered twig might be nothing but pieces by now.
I sensed a change in them. One I can't understand or piece together. It seems fragmented, distant. I'm not sure.
We're all changed, are we not? And he'll feel on his wrist her hand.
I think Fenwyn feels unseen enough at this point to artfully shrug his shawl off his shoulders, his undershirt next, and then he's completely naked, completely vulnerable, still holding Theia's hand.
When I was a child, we used to play this game, the neighborhood children and I. Well, I imagine they found me dreadfully irritating because I only ever wanted to play this same game. We would stand in a circle and one by one take it in turns to sing the line of a song, making it up as we go, round and round until we collectively felt the song was complete. And they were terrible, of course. Meandering, nonsensical, repetitive, tuneless. We were children. But I cherished those songs. I would sing them over and over for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, however long it was, until we were together again. And straight away, I'd be insisting, let's play the song game. In every one of my memories, I am surrounded by people and love and music and song. And then for 30 years, I was alone and in silence. Her hand tightens on your wrist. I tried everything to get out of that place. Everything. I would stop at nothing to end that silence. And yet, whatever I tried, my eyes would open again and still I would be there. Don't ever want to be alone again, Fenwyn.
At this point, Fenwyn slides into the bath behind Theia, his fingers interlocked with hers. I understand, minstrel, I too had 30 years alone, but not alone, consumed by a lie I knew was false, just to feel the warmth of want. But it was always going to be a lie.
I'm glad you chose the truth in the end.
Me too.
Let's check in with the mechanics, as we always must do. I think this feels like the make can't move, fully satisfied at this point. If either of you want to make the case for having cleared a ritual or unmarking one of your aspects, you can go ahead and do that now.
I would like to clear the condition ferocious.
Okay, fair enough. I actually think move one step closer to Blue El Sayyin as well.
I shall.
What about you, Fenwyn?
I'd like to clear a box on my rhyme, breath held as sharp and ready, as I was kind of waiting for my echolocation to kick in.
Oh, yeah, that's good. I like that. Fantastic. And you will get to define a clue as well, something you will have stumbled on. It could be at any point during this whole Castle Brynwild thing, not just right now. If you have some ideas, I'm happy to hear them, but otherwise I'll come back to it.
Well,
Do tell.
It's a bit woolly, but like something about the idea that you need to be unburdened of something to face the Branch Torn Night.
Yeah, or like willing to leave things behind. we're thinking about.
Well, that's pretty good.
Is it Ifrin who was kind of left behind by her love, and that
Yes,
idea?
right. Yeah. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm into that. Go ahead and write that down. That sounds great. Have we had any thoughts on the clue that we might have found to the three faces? What mystery it was for and what it is?
Something that Ash said to Vera. It's something about waiting until you're ready. It's not rushing in. It's waiting until the perfect moment. But I can't remember the line that it was. It was so good.
Ash, do you recall it?
I wish I did. I don't know.
Suppose you could check the
tape. Rewind the tape.
Maybe something like this: a sword that is too heavy until it's not. Something like that.
I kind of like the idea of there's something interesting in like Vera dragging the sword.
The sword, yeah. Like eventually, when she was ready, maybe she'd be able to lift it. Maybe she'd be strong enough. She isn't currently. I like if that's something.
Oh, that's pretty good. The blade is too heavy until you're able. The blade is too heavy until you're worthy to lift it. That feels like a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Done.
That's nice.
Calyxe and Ash, you will actually be approaching Castle Brynwild from a slightly different direction than the other group did. You're passing through a meadow where wildflowers sway gently in the wind, and the gold and cerulean flicker of insect wings in the air, a harmony of songbirds, bees, rustling leaves. It's almost enough to muffle the sound of cracking bones beneath your feet. Let's paint the scene. How do we know the flowers here grow so abundantly because of the corpses left behind by the branch-torn night?
The leaves on the stems of each flower are run through with those little tiny veins that leaves always have. But on these flowers, they are red, flowing with blood.
I think there are these patches of dense, kind of red, almost kind of red bracken. And if you were to go and look at where they root, every single one is rooted in the neck of a fallen challenger.
There are flowers whose petals are a vibrant blue, some of them green, some of them hazel, and then some dark black. And as you follow the stems of these flowers down, you realize every one of them, in the pairs that they come, are springing forth from the skull, the eye sockets. I guess they will still have their eye color.
Amidst the colours of the petals of the blood of those that would grow out of eye sockets, there are patches of beautiful white flowers that seem to grow randomly, sporadically throughout the meadow. These are the last known locations of those that were truly innocent when they faced the night. Their petals are unstained. It is as if the land itself knew of their ignorance, their innocence, in thinking that they stood a chance, and has memorialized them in the only color they truly deserved.
You see this wide meadow, riot of color as you've described. And as you walk through it, of course, there are headless bodies in various states of decay, feeding this beauty. In the distance, you see Castle Brynwild, and sort of in between you and Castle Brynwild in the meadow, there's a woman dancing in the meadow by herself. She's slender and long-limbed with finely sculpted features, She's wearing a diaphanous gown that blooms like a flower when she twirls. Her long golden hair is cascading down in waves. She seems to be caught up in her own world, twirling about amidst this beautiful sea of death. Vera says, "What is this place?"
It is a grave. But not like any I have ever known or made. It is wonderful. Would you not say, Ash?
I suppose there is a sort of wild beauty to it.
A wild beauty. That is it indeed. I wonder if she knows a little more. Should we approach?
Ash doesn't answer but begins to step towards her.
You're not at all within hearing distance of her. You're still at least a couple hundred paces away, maybe more. And yet when she speaks, you hear her. "Be wary, embers. The branch-torn night will hold your soul to its true light. You might think you're ready. They all did. None of them were." And that's when you hear, there we are. You'll see Burke. I think you've met Burke, Calyxe. Burke is
It's Bark!
clumping through the bodies in the meadow, laden with scavenged treasure, shiny bits of armor hanging from his hip, sacks fat with coin and other trinkets. And, he has as I previously described him, ratty hair, and his formerly fine nobleman's clothing is all bloodstained and shredded now. You can kind of smell him from here. And he has this obnoxious flower garland around his neck. He's like, there we go. He's managed to wrench something off of a body, a ring maybe. He puts it in one of his sacks. And he says, "Oh, ha ha ha. Why do you look familiar to me?"
30 years have changed me, I suppose, though you look very much the same to me.
No matter. If you're here to challenge the Branch-Torn Knight, I am happy to see you indeed. Because that means you'll be tossed out here eventually. And he's already looking over your stuff, looking over your armor, looking over your equipment, measuring what might be in his greedy hands soon enough.
I fear you may leave empty-handed. I think we have a worthy challenger. I believe that to the core of my soul.
Mm-hmm. Heard that many, many times. And then he kind of spreads his arms out in this field of dead bodies. Many, many times.
I think as he's leant close to look over Calyxe, Ash just puts a hand on his shoulder in a firm grip. Ease yourself. Back away.
He does. And as he does, I think he actually spies your rose glass locket, which I would like to suggest is maybe tied around a chain around your hand that you just grabbed him with. Mm-hmm. He says, "Where'd you get that? Looks too fine and pretty a thing. for a warrior such as you. Is it a gift? Is it a gift from your lady love that you left behind? Did she
Ash.
weep when you set out on your hopeless quest? Ooh.
Hold your tongue, lest I take it from your sad, sorry mouth. You will not talk to the Lord Ash that way. Bark.
And he just sneers and says, "We'll see who has the last laugh." And he's kind of crab walks away from you both, well, from all of you.
Forgive me, Ash. Forgive me. My ill nature got the better of me. I saw nothing more than wanting to rip out his tongue, nail it to the tree, and let it speak truth without his foul body attached to it. I did not. I apologize.
Ash puts a hand on the side of your face, Calyxe. You see you're wrong. That is enough. I would not ask more of you. Thank you.
I am learning. I am becoming more. I can see that. There was a time where a place like this would have filled me with sorrow. Did fill me with sorrow. Before the dimning, the beauty of the forest was measured in power, and power was not beautiful. Power was suffering. But there was one day I was walking through the greater glade. It was a dark place. Great gnarled roots buckled into the earth. Mists that hung around your shoulders like a cloak. Its presence pressed upon you. There was an old trunk. There were many, many mysteries and stories about its origins, how it had come to be. Some say it came from the Fathomless War. Others say the Wolf King tore it apart in anger one day. But regardless of its history, out of the trunk, a sapling was growing. This sapling was the most beautiful shade of purple I had ever seen. It so surprised me, I laughed. I could not have recalled a time before that when I did. New life, cocooned from the old. Beautiful. It was not suffering, it was meaning, it was rebirth, it was the closest I had felt to the earth in a millennia, it felt like. I feel that way now. Here with you. Learning, growing. As if I am that sapling.
I believe you are. I can see it in you. I can see the way you will bloom in the light of the new world. The world we can make.
I think Calyxe steps forward and almost reaches for Ash's hand, but sees her own and brings it back and pulls it down by her side and just nods. Together.
Together.
What a world you will make this place. King Ash as the hidden throne. Your legion will be so proud. Not proud. They will revere you and they will pay you the proper respects. I apologize. It is difficult learning. I will stumble, but I will get there. I promise.
You've done well so far. And again, I would not trouble you for more. Continue to grow.
I will, my lord. I will.
You currently have 7 clues on this complexity 6 question. There's still some places to search if you want to try to find more clues. The Field of Honor lies at the rear of the castle. This is like the tourney grounds. No longer in use, but there could be something interesting there. And then, of course, there's the Vine-Hearted Chapel as well, which is sort of your ultimate destination once you decide you're ready to face the Branch-Torn Knight. What's our thinking right now? Bearing in mind that you can also mark aspects to use as clues.
I have the bones of an idea. Perhaps we can grow some flowers out of the skull of it. I'm kind of looking at these clues. I feel like there's something about striking with speed and sort of purpose and like a strong sense of decision. The tale of Theia and the Bold, you can be brave but you can't be slow. There's the folly finds the fool who flirts with fear, suffer not the silence where your song should sound. It seems very like, go, we got to go for this. And the memorial on the 3 faces, I'm kind of thinking about how we heard the story that it was a comet that kind of just shot down to Earth. And then there's the tapestry of the hunting party hunting at the first rays of a winter moon, which again kind of gives me the sense of like strike early, strike swiftly. So I don't know if there's something about like to prove yourself worthy, you must not so much wait for the right moment, but decide this is the moment. Just go. If that makes sense?
Okay, so let's review the clues for viewers. The question is, how can you prove yourself worthy to the Branch-Torn Knight? Your clues are, quote, folly finds the fool who flirts with fear. Suffer not the silence where your song should sound. Second clue, knowledge of the self is necessary to face the night. The tale of Barun the Bold proves you can be brave, but you can't be slow. A memorial to a worthy challenger was scratched onto the 3 faces. A tapestry showing a party hunting the first rays of a winter moon. A willingness to unburden oneself or leave something precious behind. The sword is heavy in the hand until the right moment. What do we think?
We might have a few clues to add first, if that's
okay.
Kind of okay. I'm going to add one from my my rhyme of the Mouse in the Tower. The line specifically that says "No blade could break," because I think a part of what makes the Branch-Torn Knight incredibly powerful is you can't parry his blows. So you can't fight him on your own terms. You have to try something else. So I'm going to pop that in there.
I like that. Okay, interesting. Good. So we have an 8th clue.
I was going to mark an aspect of the rose glass locket, actually.
Okay, good. Nice foreshadowing there by Burke. Thank you, Burke.
Yeah. So when opened, it reveals the strongest emotion lingering in a place. I think that in combination with what is the wording? Folly finds the fool who flirts with fear. I think you have to divest yourself of fear and prove that you don't carry that emotion in some way before you can even enter through the...
Oh, and so practically the rose glass locket will help you determine if you are ready, right? That's pretty good. Yeah. I like that.
I was going to look to add from Harrow the Martyr Catcher an iron sickle attached to a long chain. There's this idea that we're waiting for the right moment to strike. And these weapons, you have to strike first and then trust that the aim is true, because it's not going to hit immediately. It's sort of like snakes and then whips. And I like the idea that you need to trust yourself to make that judgment, to know that it's going to hit without parrying his blows physically. You're just waiting for your weapon to hit.
Oh, I see. So you can't parry his blows. You must, you basically have to wait until you're able to strike true. There's no melee as such. Oh, that's interesting.
And then combining that with the other sort of clues, it's knowing yourself enough. What is it? Knowledge of the self is necessary to face the night. It's knowing that you're going to strike true. You know this weapon.
That's really good.
Well. It
kind of implies that the people who've been challenging the Branch Torn Knight have been doing it in a way where they either reacting out of fear or hubris, they try to immediately engage him and just get swatted down. Whereas what you're saying is the idea is to calm yourself and wait to almost let the Branch Torn Knight make the first move. And that's interesting to me. There's something intriguing about that.
So all of this, and I've just kind of pulled this out of nowhere, I think.
That's how we do.
Yeah. This sounds familiar. All this whole learn his attack patterns business, and then we'll kind of deal with him when we get the right moment type thing. I think the tapestry showing a party hunting the first rays of a winter moon, I think that the thing that is in our favor is the first winter moon is tonight. And that is how we show down against that. And no one else has figured that out. We're going to show down.
Cosmically, it's the right moment. Yeah, that's good.
And moons, it's a thing. It's been happening. It's been going on.
You have your moon troubadour. Interesting. I'm curious about this three faces clue, because that one specifically says it was a memorial carved to someone who was worthy, presumably somebody from ancient times who was able to play the Branch Torn Knight's game, right? What is the relevance of carving it onto the three faces? What maybe we can add some context of what the memorial was that actually helps us here?
Is it, if it's about kind of the cosmic timing of it all,
right? Did
that Challenger strike on the night the comet crashed out?
Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, that's pretty interesting. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
I wonder whether a memorial exists because he didn't kill the Branch Torn Knight, but he perhaps bested him in a duel or something, and he was then killed by someone else, on the way back by a bunch of road agents or bandits or something.
Oh.
And there's this memorial to him to basically say that someone did do it, but his name's forgotten to time.
Oh, that's interesting. That's actually a pretty good instance of not necessarily incorporating the clue, but explaining it away, still giving you credit for it on the dice. Okay, so let's go through these. I think we are getting there with these clues. I'm looking through them all right now. I've got them all but one: a willingness to unburden oneself or leave something precious behind.
Perhaps it is sort of a similar, pointing towards the idea of leaving aside your fear, waiting until you're emotionally ready, and perhaps because we kind of took that from Ifrin being left behind, and I wonder if that's kind of because fear for her safety was holding back her love. She had to leave her back here so she wouldn't be fearful. So again, it's the thing you have to unburden yourself of is is anything that's going to strike fear or hold you back from striking at that right moment.
I think I like it. I think the way we can account for this clue is as you all enter the Vine-Hearted Chapel, what will you leave there before you go face the night? You know, what will you each leave at the Vine-Hearted Chapel? I think that is how we can kind of interpret that. I think that's pretty good. This is interesting. I think it's a pretty good theory. If you roll, it will be +4. Who wants to roll? You should all be clamoring for this one.
I'll do it. It's not quite the, what was it, +11 we had on Sally No Face that time.
That's right. That was ridiculous. Yeah,
okay. 11. Anyone want to bump it for a Lord clue?
Lord clue?
I'll bump it.
Right. You're going to have to reinterpret the answer through your cinder. What is your cinder?
My cinder is the speaking root. The land reveals truth only when fed suffering. I think...
Is what you have to leave behind something more corporeal in nature?
Suffer not the silence. Suffer not. Willing to unburden oneself.
If anyone has any thoughts, I'd love to hear them too.
Well, we very specifically in the Paint the Scene showed how the earth had been fed suffering by all those corpses and the flowers.
That is true.
Yeah.
I wonder whether that's the bouquet we have to take into the chapel, like this is flowers from that field or something.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. There's something. I mean, there's something interesting about like how. I like the idea of like everybody but Calyxe thinks that it's all about like leaving behind your fear, learning patience, don't strike first. Like you have to be able to be the calm in the storm when you're facing the branch-torn night. And Calyxe is like, nah, the time is right because of all these dead people.
The amount of suffering the land has been fed is right up at like the winter moon has come, and it's the sign that the
Like,
amount of suffering that has been fed.
Oh, that's good.
We're at a threshold.
The winter moon appears in the sky.
Ultimate Blue
way.
Alcyone is full of suffering because
that's
of all
good.
of the pity and piety and mercy that it bestows. So now it's time.
That's pretty good. Okay, so you have now unlocked the opportunity, which is resolve the mystery by entering through the Vine-Hearted Chapel to be tested by the Branch-Torn Knight, and then you immediately engage in the struggle. Let's talk about let's talk about the chapel first of all. Actually, I want to just have the journey to the Branch-Torn Knight. First, you're all going to be reunited. I think we'll deal with that maybe even after the Branch-Torn Night. But for now, because we're going to be presumably we're going to be on Pale Crossing. For now, I just want to know how Lord and Lady Brynwild wish you good tidings as they send you off to face the Branch-Torn Knight. Almost Galadriel style, going to each of you individually to give you a gift. What do the Lord and Lady Brynwild give you each?
I think the lady gives Fenwyn her room key.
And I think the lady gives Theia the gift of her tongue down her throat.
I think the Lord gives to Ash the gilded feather that was gift from Torlanus and returns it.
I think the lady puts around both of your necks a garland of flowers plucked from that meadow, but just they're flowers that are of the same heraldry from inside Castle Brynwild, and they feel regal and they smell like the musk and the husk of the interior of the castle.
And I think Veyreg gets a similar gift, but it's a sort of wedding crown made of flowers. You're also being accompanied by Talmaron, the Ember Keeper, as well as Malin, Rowan, and Asha. It's a big party going to face the branch-torn knight. Perhaps the real answer to the question was safety in numbers is how you face it. You are worthy by being more of him. You have to go through the Field of Honor, which is a large grass tourney field, a long ornate fence down the middle. There are scattered white tents. A banner in heraldic colors, now forgotten, rips from one of the tent poles, landing in the mud. A hay training dummy with a sword still stuck in its chest. The pervasive smell of horse and blood, although neither can be seen. Let's paint the scene. What completely mundane necessities still linger on this field? Now its heroes are long gone.
There is a cooking pot hanging over the remains of a little campfire. It's empty. Birds have pecked away at anything that was left. Any remains of what its owner refused to believe would be his last meal.
I think there is a small stool with the squire's things unfurled on a leather roll. There are whetstones of various sizes, but no weapons left to sharpen.
There's near the holding pens a brush where someone had lovingly cared for the horses, making sure they were clean and unmarred, but it lies dusty and forgotten.
At the edge of this clearing is an old tree, and hung on it are moth-eaten, moss-crept tabards, hung out once clearly to dry. A sword, rusted with age, leans against it, and at its base there is an old shield. A great tree is painted upon it, with 2 pears grown within it. Some very long-lost family sigil, protecting nobody anymore.
You continue traveling for a time, past the actual grounds of the castle, deeper into a sun-dappled wood. Vibrant, verdant leaves dance in the wind, as jubilant and as comforting as a lover's laugh. At one point, you come across some tree stumps, which are acting as like table and chairs, and atop the table there's a game of chess left unfinished. No clear winner can be made out. The game can yet go to anyone. Later still, what at first glance appears to be a knight resting against a tree is actually just a suit of armor. Its heraldic colors have faded with time, its golden emblems turned to rust. Evening is coming on, and you reach the vine-hearted chapel. What seems at first like a grove of trees are actually giant ribs. The river that runs through them pulses like a heart. Something more alive than silence swallows all sound except for a rhythmic thudding from deep below the earth, vibrating through the soles of your feet. What do you each leave behind?
I think that Fenwyn, who is still wearing the green silk scarf around his eyes, knowing that that holds decades worth of grief. He unties it, replaces it once again with the loin guard cloth, and leaves the silk scarf tied around one of those ribs on the way into the chapel.
Calyxe stands at the foot of the door and looks back to Ash in the knowledge that suffering must be fed for meaning. Suddenly means nothing to her. If suffering is what must be fed, and suffering has reached this threshold, then no more suffering is required here. And she has suffered. She has suffered for so long. She suffers now, she suffers still. She takes the thorn twisted crown upon her head, and gently pulls at the thorns until the blood begins to seep and ooze down lesions that have grown upon her brow for centuries, it feels. And she removes it. She hangs it on a splinter of bone from one of the ribs and moves on.
Ash pauses. He is thinking. He looks at the locket that hangs around his wrist, but he knows he is not attached to it enough. It is not worth enough. And as he's looking at his hand, the spectral hand of Rowan comes and covers his. He reaches into his armor and pulls out the blue ribbon. I'll come and claim it again. And Rowan doesn't say anything, but Ash ties it, because there is no way that he is leaving without it.
Pressed and dried between the pages of the Howling Choir book, a handful of white stag blossoms gathered from the tree that was sacred to another knight. They symbolize mutual devotion. Theia looks down at these pressed flowers in her hands, scalded and blistered and burned and crisscrossed with scars from self-inflicted wounds. And she crushes the blossoms into powder. The mutual devotion that once existed between her and an agent of the Sun Queen is no more. She lets it fly into the air like confetti for a wedding.
30 years in the desert will do that to you, I suppose. Ash, the Vine-Hearted Chapel seems like just as good a place as any to have your naming ceremony.
The nameless that have followed since the Three Faces have been very patient. Some a little impatient. As he finishes tying the ribbon, one tugs at his sleeve, another presses at his armor. Says, I have not forgotten you. He looks to the four that stand before him. I name you Wren, the Vigilant, and release you from your burdens. I name you Leora, the Gentle, and release you from your burdens. I name you Oren, the Kind, and release you from your burdens. And you are named Merrick, the Pale, and release you from your burdens. And as he holds out his hands, they bow before him, and then he turns his hands palm up. Who'd walk with me now into this place of branch? And I roll to summon more.
Let's see how you do.
Can I actually... I've never tried. I can get advantage on these by marking an aspect because I'm rolling with Cinder. Is that everything? Great. Okay. Can I actually mark the ribbon?
Oh, sure.
I've just
Yeah.
placed?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Why I feel the need. Okay. Okay. That's 10.
Roll a die.
4.
4 knights appear, ready for service.
I think of the 4 that appear, there is one that towers and looms over the rest. His face is not obscured, and pressing against his armor are thick furs that press out. And Ash looks startled for a moment. Lord Commander? And the Spectral Knight says, I would see you prove yourself to an old friend. And says nothing more.
A struggle with the branch-torn knight. The first movement. You have followed the river to its end, beyond the vine-hearted chapel. The canopy of leaves overhead has thickened until you can no longer see the sky. The light has colored green. The trees loom uncaring and indifferent, their branches sagging under the weight of dozens of birds, all staring at you. All the sound of the living world has vanished. Only your own heartbeat remains. The branch-torn knight stands ready, towering over you. I'll remind you, he's tall as an oak tree with verdant skin. Tree bark, moss, and vines grow over a vaguely masculine form in the mockery of a knight's armor. Branches of holly and oak protrude from his chest like a rib cage cracked open from the inside, and nestled within is a fossilized heart, no longer beating. He has a holly branch that he raises above his head, his verdant axe in his other hand. He does not move when you approach. Calmly, he rests his eyes upon you all, one by one. His gaze holds your soul to its true light, ruthlessly tearing away all pretense, all excuses, all justification, until you stand before him your rawest self. Paint the scene. What here tells you that many snapped under the weight of this judgment and died before the branch-torn knight ever raised his axe?
To one side of the chapel, you can see 3 bodies kneeling. Armor, weapons, long overgrown with lichen and moss, as they kind of bow. And their heads are still attached because they reached the point that we're all at and decided to fall on their swords. and the branch-torn knight has left them to one side, as if to say, "See, there is a simpler way out of this."
At the foot of the knight are more bodies, but they have simply laid down. Under the weight of this judgment, there was nothing to do but lay down and die. One of them, it looks like, is still breathing.
Not far from those bodies is one that has fallen, a hand clutching at the front of his chest. He was filled with such regrets, his heart could not take it.
Yet the space where we stand is clear of bodies and seems almost like a stage, the way that it has these brilliant white paving stones under our boots. They are not paving stones. They are minuscule fragments of bone, ground down over time by the weight of more and more feet coming to stand here and falling one by one, hounded down by the weight of judgment.
The sound of your heartbeat is deafening now, a desperate thing wanting to crawl out of your throat. The very blood in your veins feels vile, yearning to be spilled. The forest around you expands and closes in at the same time, the trees dwarfing you, the water of the river running red in anticipation. This place is ancient and has seen many deaths. It does not care if it witnesses yours. To all embers, please describe what terrible sin this judgment unearths from your soul, and what you do to not succumb to this dark part of yourself, and then roll the dark move. I'll start with Ash.
Ash does not recoil. He is made stock still. It is the same stillness that overcame him when a missive came from his old family. He read the words. He read the request for help. He did not go. He did not go. He left them to rot. It was just, he thought, he wanted to believe. It never rung true. I think he remembers the feel of Rowan's hands, and it does come to press on him again, and then Malon's, and then Ash's. He looks to the other embers. He still has family.
You are going to be rolling the dark move with presence, and yeah. What do you think is going to happen if you fail?
I will fall to my knees in despair because the new family does not replace what he let happen.
It's worse than that. Vera, seeing this, will find some fundamental injustice in it and foolishly lash out. at the branch torn knight and lose her life. Roll with presence, please.
I would like to mark an aspect on name taker. Burdened not by guilt but by identity. I would like to hold fast to my identity now and not fall into who I was in the past.
Love it. Perfect use of an aspect. Roll 3d6 plus presence. Take the two highest.
8.
Everything is as I've described it, or everything is as you've described it. You endure. You endure, but I think Vera will be fighting rashly once the actual combat happens, and you'll be defending her the whole time. If you don't want to deal with that, you can have the Spectral Knights help you right now. The 3 that can help out with struggles.
I think it makes sense. They're supporting him right now.
Yeah.
So
which 2 are you going to use up?
I will use Rowan and Asha.
Fantastic. I think we're good with Ash. Calyxe, same question. Describe what terrible sin this judgment unearths from your soul. I feel like there's plenty to choose from. And what do you do to not succumb to this dark part of yourself? And roll the dark move.
It's not the countless bodies. It's not the torture. It's not the millions of different ways that anyone from this waking world would judge her. It's the mask that she has worn for the last 30 years. It is denying what she is. It is denying what she has always been, while learning and longing to be in pursuit of something else. The sin that is unearthed from her soul are the last 30 years of her life looking for Ash. Not having the Crux Druids in mind, not acting with regard to the Crucible, straying from the path, not feeding the land, suffering in their name, but suffering in vengeance for not being able to find this nameless knight that she has, for whatever reason, formed a great attachment to. The land must be fed suffering. She does not suffer. Not enough. But there was a time when she did. For she has met the branch-torn knight before. There is a version of her that still remembers what it was to be in his presence, to feel that judgment, that weight upon her shoulders, to look at him then and know that she was not worthy. And yet she was. The doubt that clouded her mind is the sin. The doubt is the mask. Ash is the mask. Ash is the sin. She will purge it.
Interesting. This feels like you're rolling with Cinder. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I'm afraid that when he attacks, she's going to run to Ash and beg him to save her.
Oh, so you'll become a faithless ember.
Yes.
Interesting. How is it worse than that? Well, I think that's how it's actually worse than that. You will leave the fight and become a faithless ember.
Ooh.
Go ahead and roll with, I think this is definitely Herald of the Speaking Root coded, so I'm going to make you roll a Cinder since you have that mark now. And yeah.
Okay. To give myself advantage, I'm going to mark from Harrow the Martyr Catcher can only be satisfied if the whole world hangs. That original stigma that she has in the back of her brain, that the Crux Druids nailed into her physically.
I like
that
it.
This
Yeah.
is what she must be. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think the condition part of your herald would affect you here, but I do think you're rolling cinder. So.
Okay. Eight.
You're keeping it together. I do want you to take a condition, though, to reflect your changed opinion of Ash. You can decide what that is. Fenwyn, same question. Tell us your sins.
It hits Fenwyn like a spear to the chest, and he is instantly transported back to the gently rocking boat in the ocean. Him stood at a four-poster bed, pulling back the curtain and seeing a scared child and holding his finger to his lips and silencing him. He never really understood until this moment how pivotal his extraction of the boy who would never be king would be. And now he realizes it has epoch-defining consequences, and he is solely responsible. And we see Fenwyn in the chapel, uncharacteristically jittery, fumbling through his clothes to try and find the sigil of the one true king, to hold it in his hands to steel himself.
I love it. Dark move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I am afraid that for the duration of this fight, Fenwyn will not be able to call upon the tools he has used to adapt to his blindness, and he will be literally fighting blind in this.
Ooh, how's it worse than that? I think Talmaron will try to help you, to his great dismay. You're going to roll with composure.
I'm going to mark the royal sigil of the true king who never took the throne for advantage.
Go ahead.
That's a 5.
Even with all that, it was a 5. Oh, man. You are, I think the situation is not going well for Fenwyn. You can all see it. Everyone is kind of standing there resolute, processing, having their, their past, having their sins laid bare, being judged silently by the gaze of the branch-torn knight. And Fenwyn, who can't even see the branch-torn knight, is having essentially kind of a meltdown there at the end of the river. Talmaron has to actually rush forward to try to help you, and you collapse down to your hands and knees as you feel this second sight that you've trained into yourself over the years slipping away from you. Talmaron is like, get up, noble Ember. Please, please, you must stand before him. And Talmaron will turn, thinking about the near fate of Ifrin, thinking about Florianth, thinking about all the many years he's lost to the very idea of the branch-torn knight, and heedlessly rushes up toward him. And with a single clean swipe of the axe, Talmaron's head goes flying off into the river. Theia. Tell us your sins.
The troubadours did not believe that love was a finite resource to be hoarded like a dragon, rationed out to only the one person in the entire world found worthy of it. Love is a precious gift to be given freely, openly, honestly. But even the troubadours have limits. And Theia was not honest. She kept a secret. She called him by his given name, Bertrand, when everyone else called him the Burnished Intercessor. And when Romulo found out, he kept her secret. He kept it to his fiery grave. And she can withstand this memory only by the grace of the canopy of trees blocking her from Blue Isle Saïn's sight.
What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
The eyes of the Wolf King are ever watchful. Of course, he can still see her. And 30 years is not punishment enough.
How is it worse than that? My goodness. I think it's worse than that. The Branch-Torn Knight will actually defer to the Wolf King in this matter and send you to your exile. You are going to be rolling with, I think this is going to be lies can become truth. The lie of your relationship with the Burnished Intercessor certainly has become a sort of truth at this point.
Yep.
Also, you are burned. You're physically burned, but I'm actually going with a sort of metaphorical burn right now.
You're making me roll disadvantage with Cinder, you terrible man.
I am.
Okay. I've got nothing. She's gonna have to just do this. Okay. Oh, that's a really good roll. Okay. Disadvantage, so these two. That's still 10 minus 1, 9.
Whoa. Fantastic. Ooh, interesting. I think I'm going to give you the condition exposed. The Branch-Torn Knight regards you all in utter silence. The second movement. The Branch-Torn Knight drops the hollyberry branch and raises his axe. He awaits your first strike. You wait as well, for as we know, you do not rush into the combat like poor Talmaron did. But eventually, when you think the time is right, you do strike. He does parry easily, as if batting away a fly. The hollyberry branch is trampled underneath his feet as he meets you all in battle. A force of nature and judgment, fearless and unstoppable. A picture of lethal chivalry. You cannot hurt the Branch-Torn Knight in any way that truly matters. Severed limbs are regrown. Vines and branches reconstitute themselves. His axe parries and blocks your heaviest blows and slices through the air much faster and sharper than you'd expect. in any case, Fenwyn is just scrabbling about in the mud. Let's paint the scene. How do you know the branch-torn knight is just toying with you?
Because Fenwyn still has his head.
As he looks down at Fenwyn, his maw opens, drops. He's yawning. This, whatever the branch-torn knight is, has no need to yawn. This is purely performative. And we know it.
There's a violent sort of creaking of wood in his hollow chest, and it takes you a moment to realize he is laughing.
I think that as we see this incredibly fast and graceful swordsmanship, even though it's with an axe, he switches hands and it gets faster. He's been using his left hand.
Sound returns violently. You hear 1,000 whispers, each carrying a failure, a regret, a shameful secret. They grow louder and louder. Every songbird screeches your sin. Every falling leaf has your shame carved into it. You could fill the very river with the tears that have been cried for you because of you.
Long have I waited for a worthy warrior. Risk now your ruin for reputation and renown. Prove yourself, pretenders, upon my axe.
But you cannot. He speaks these words as you are trying to regain your breath, having struck no mortal blows against him. To all embers, describe how your frustration or shame causes you to make mistakes in the fight, and how you catch yourself just in time to avoid a lethal one, and then roll the dark move, or try to at least. Ash.
Among the whispers, Ash hears his family. They're still calling for him. My son, why did you leave us? Why did you not come back for us? Brother, we won't survive, brother, please. I rue the day I ever bore you. And instead of swiping towards the night, he begins swinging towards the shadows to try and fend off the voices. Malin and Rowan and Asher are calling towards him, but he can't hear them. But it is a large hand that stops him from burying Nametaker into a tree. Bear has him by the wrist. Focus yourself. You're fighting one enemy.
What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I am afraid I'm not going to listen to him, and I'm going to end up... Ash is going to end up falling into a pit of those bodies that are on skewers.
It is worse than that. You will also lose your head to the branch-torn knight. Do roll with composure.
Composure. Got my knights. Composure is not good. I would like to mark on the banner of the Nameless Legion, the air grows still and the world seems to hold its breath, to try and block out the voices.
Yeah,
and
all the voices. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Oh, that's really good. Okay. That is 13.
You do. The advantage I'll give you on your 10 plus is you will be the one who will ultimately prove your worth to the Branch-Torn Knight and pledge for the others. But you're otherwise okay. Calyxe, tell us about your near-fatal mistake and how you try to avoid it.
The fury at the realization nearly quickens Calyxe's hand. Too rashly does she reach for the Tenderbark Confessor. And for a moment, she is consumed by the thought of turning it on Ash. And as she turns to do so, she is about to push on the ball of her feet to twist in his direction to make him pay for leading her astray. She can see the face of the Branch-Torn Knight, and his features shift. And his face is everyone she has nailed to the trees, whose bodies swing from the branches as gallows, whose eyes met hers when they last loosed their tongues. Every last one of them is held within his features. If she balks now, if she turns this on Ash, she loses everything. Because suffering is everything.
What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I'm afraid she's going to turn on Ash and the Branch-Torn Knight is going to take her head off.
That's as bad as it gets. You're going to roll the dark move. It's going to be... Actually, I think it's going to be with composure this time. And I'm going to press on your saboteur condition.
Okay. Excellent. Then I will negate that with... Suffering is everything. I'm going to negate it with the most exquisite pain known to man or beast with the Tenderbark Confessor, and just double down on suffering being what she's focused on.
Okay.
Okay. 14.
Very good. As your 12 plus bonus, I'll let you clear that condition you just picked up. But do tell me how you work through it. How do you avoid this changed feeling toward Ash?
It is all in this moment. It is everything we have been leading up to in fighting the Branch-Torn Knight. It's been waiting for the right moment. And in Calyxe's mind, it's almost like 1,000 celestial beings have suddenly aligned in one perfect string, and they lead down to where we are right now in the chapel. Everything has led to this. Everything that was meant to happen, that is bound to happen, makes sense here and right now. If she is to turn on Ash, if she is to make him pay instead of following the destiny that the Crux Druids knew she was ready for, that she turned away from, but that she has the option to re-follow now, to become one with the earth again, to know what they are saying, to listen to the tongues, and indulge in the sweet truths that give her life meaning, then she will get through this. And she knows that now.
Fenwyn, how's this going for you?
Fenwyn is on his knees. He has images cascading through his head. A kaleidoscope of regret washes over him. He sees the one true king. He sees Theia. He hears her voice on the moon. He sees the fake Rhea. He sees the real Rhea, surrounded by hummingbirds, signing "I love you" to him. And he can't pull himself together. He can't fall back on the training that he has endured, really, his entire life. From being a child as young as the one true king that he helped abduct. He can't disappear in this moment until his hand lands upon the staff of Elgaroth, which he will use to turn himself invisible.
Oh, very interesting.
He can't rely on his skills. He's going to have to take a cheat code.
Are you fleeing or are you just hiding?
I am just trying to hide because I think Fenwyn doesn't know it, but the Branch-Torn Knight is about to cleave him in twain.
This is going to be with reason for quick thinking. I am actually going to let you clear Beloved of Talmaron the Emberkeeper, but not before the memory of Talmaron the Emberkeeper forces you into disadvantage one last time, or at least this time.
I'll flatten it out by using the staff to turn me invisible, which is the aspect I'll mark on that item, on that relic. That's a 4.
We didn't really set stakes exactly, but I think we've all got... I think you do turn invisible. Branch-Torn Knight says,
Cowardice, furtiveness makes you unworthy.
and I think he reaches out and grabs at your ankle. None of you can see it while you're all trying to catch your breath after having clashed with the Branch-Torn Knight. But as he pulls, Elgareth's magic just fades away, and we see Fenwyn being pulled directly in front of the Branch-Torn Knight, who hauls you up with one hand, like a child hanging by a collar, and he just brings the axe down and cleaves your head right from your shoulders. I assume you're stoking the fire here, unless...
Do you want my knights to help you?
I got myself into this. I'll get myself out. I will...
As you wish.
I will stoke the shrine's fire.
Which one does that say?
Narrate a flashback to a time you hid something you were duty-bound to hand over.
I love it. We'll obviously do that next time, but for now... it works. You turn invisible. I think the Branch-Torn Knight, I think you're mostly safe here because you have slipped beneath something even below unworthy. You are at insect level currently, Fenwyn, and the Branch-Torn Knight cares nothing for you.
Insect level again, is it for me?
Indeed.
I think I fully accept that. But what I would like to just fold into this, the narration of this, if I may, is that Theia will feel a slight squeeze on her hand, and she'll know it's me. And that's all I want to contribute.
Fantastic. Take the condition... I was going to say less than 0. I just read that book. Take the condition... take the condition even... something like beneath unworthy or worse than unworthy. I'm not sure how to phrase it.
I've gone with beneath worth.
Beneath worth, that's good. Yes, thank you. Theia, same question. How do you barely, or how do you try to nearly escape a fatal blow?
Theia, up to this point, hasn't even been making the attempt to land a blow. She's just been dancing and diving and dodging. She tries to reach for the Wolf King's coda. It fumbles through her hands. She tries to reach for her gitter, and the metal of the strings bites into the blisters on her fingertips, the burns on her hand. They were soothed by the warm water, by the rose oil, by Fenwyn's touch. What right does she have to be soothed? What right does she have to be loved after how she betrayed those who loved her before? She is overcome by this. She is useless to everyone. She is useless to everyone. She cannot grasp at her weapons. She cannot do anything. And she feels that squeeze of her hand for a moment. And she knows she still has her voice. And just loud enough. She knows he's nearby. She squeezes back and says, "You chose the truth once. You're not a coward." And she finds the stillness that she learned from him, to hold still and think.
This is composure. What are you afraid is going to happen if this doesn't work?
It's not going to be enough. She's still going to meet her end here.
Yeah, I think that's about the gist of it. And I'm going to put you at disadvantage because of exposed.
Yeah, that's fair. Can I mark something? Within the Howling Choir book, I have words that can inspire hope even in the face of impossible odds.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So that's flat roll. Did you say composure?
Composure.
Okay, that's 2. Oh, Christ. That's a 5.
To stand before me with no seeming concern for your own well-being is not only unworthy, it is utterly foolish.
The axe flies through the air, and your head falls at your own feet. Unless you stoke the fire.
Yeah, I guess I will.
I was gonna offer you knights, but if you
There are
have
knights.
Ooh. Can I have a knight?
You need 2 knights.
2 knights.
Do you have 2 knights left?
I have 4, so
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
please have that.
Please.
How do the knights help then, Ash?
I think as the axe begins to swing down towards Theia's neck, 2 spectral blades intercede and cross paths with it just before it connects with you. The knights turn to you. Move.
She will.
Indeed.
Jason, may I ask, am I
Yeah.
allowed to use moves during a struggle?
If it makes sense if it makes sense to like replace the roll, yeah, I'm open to it. Yeah.
I don't know if it does exactly replace the roll, but I have a move called It Giveth. When you use your words to inspire another ember, strengthening their resolve or calming their fears, move the marker closer to Blue Al-Sain, roll with Cinder, and I can choose things depending on what I roll.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that could definitely apply because I think we have like one more roll after this, so that
Okay.
would probably
So I can use that for that roll.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do I want to put any extra complication on this? I don't think so. I think the knights are very efficient here, and you can just run off. The third movement. You can scarcely see the branch-torn knight now through the whirlwind of leaves, nor hear him through the choir of accusations. Ash, you cannot see the other embers. You stand alone in the truth of yourself. Please describe how you prove your worth to the branch-torn knight and why you pledge for the others. This has to be beyond just martial concerns. There's something more here.
Ash lowers name taker to his side as the leaves begin to spiral. He looks towards the branch-torn knight, towards the hollow heart in his chest. You have been here for a very long time. I see that. Age beyond age. He steps forward. I would release you from this, the burden you carry. I think that's why I'm here. All of this is not for naught. But you have destroyed many lives for this game. And he steps closer again. Life is not a game. You cannot treat it as such. I won't allow you to. I would fight you until the moons grow dark, until the trees decay. But you will not claim another life. Not while I am here. Not while we are here. I do not think you evil, but I think you enough and finished. Rest yourself now.
The fourth movement. The leaves fall to the ground, now autumn gold. The last. For now it is the time of the winter moon. Relieved silence sweeps over the forest. The branch-torn knight kneels before you, Ash, presenting his axe to you with both hands. He reverently bows his head, exposing his neck. You stand at the precipice of a game fading into myth. Paint the scene. How can we tell the branch-torn knight has loathed this game, but has been unable to stop it?
There are marks at his neck where he has turned his verdant axe on himself but been unable to cut through.
As he lowers his head, as he pushes the branches crowning his brow into the ground, letting them snap, as if trying to get as close to the ground so that Ash can find his mark as easily as humanly possible. We see his shoulders sag, relief finally twining with the bark and lifting a great burden from him.
We see milky white tears streaming through the slit in his helmet, through where the chin is, and as it runs down his breastplate and other pieces of his armor, we see how the tears cause everything on it to bloom. His grief, his sorrow, and his repentance for all this untold violence and brutality he has reigned has kept him trapped in this armor.
And all of those flowers that grew, fed, nourished by the suffering caused by this game, they shed their petals at once with a sigh, and they flutter through the air. The flowers will not regrow. This cycle has ended.
Theia, your move, it giveth, says when you use your words to inspire another ember, in this case ash, strengthening their resolve or calming their fears, move the marker closer to Blue El Sayin and roll with Cinder. What are your words?
You are the best of us, shepherd of lost souls. Here kneels another soul for you to care for. Unburden yourself too, shepherd.
Roll with Cinder. Choose 2 from your list.
Ash, your next roll is taken with advantage. You can have a condition of my choosing. And you'll gain an end of session question. Did you act in accordance with this condition?
Which Theia gets to answer for you.
Destined for the hidden throne.
Take destined for the hidden throne as a condition. And indeed, Ash, describe how you end the cycle of the game.
Ash steps forward towards the kneeling knight. He grabs the handle of the axe overhand and under and draws it to himself. The branch-torn knight does not breathe, as far as he can tell, wind passes through him. But it is the silence that grabs him, as all of nature itself seems to quiet in reverence for this moment. Branch-torn knight, I'll deliver you now into memory. Your game, your deeds, they shall be remembered. I'll bid you go in peace. And he raises his axe and brings it down.
That is the Branch-torn Knight mystery resolved. Let's collect rewards. First things first, you must choose which of 2 side characters is going to go to the Morning Tower, perhaps with you even now. Unfortunately, one of your options is currently beheaded at the river at the end of the chapel. And so the supplicant is going to be Burke, a collector, going to the Morning Tower as a supplicant. You gain 1 extra clue on the information move when consulting Burke about matters related to trinkets, broken items, or scavenging. And then you each choose an item. Now, one of these things is only available if you took it from Ifrin. That's the unbleeding green sash. You did take that, right?
I did. It's currently on one of the ribs outside the chapel.
Are you going to collect it again when you come back out?
Yeah.
Okay. So, indeed, there is the unbleeding green sash, only available if taken from Ifrin. A sash of spring green silk entwined with protective magic. As long as it is worn about the waist, you do not bleed when cut. Surprisingly heavy, bearing the weight of elusive perfection. The Verdant axe. An axe grown rather than made, with a blade like a winter night, and sharp enough to sever moonlight. When rested against any organic material, green moss will quickly overgrow the surface. A book, no doubt belonging to Lady Brynwild. For my name said with thine lips 5 tales of chivalry and romance. A gorgeously bound book containing titillating courtly romance stories certain to make many blush. Reading it in public would certainly be a most fine conversation starter or distraction. A hollyberry branch ever blooming. A simple hollyberry branch. When held above one's head, it signals the wish for a peaceful parley, which those honor-bound would recognize. Its berries makes a tasteless, odorless poison. Finally, a vial of soil from the vine-hearted chapel. Any plant grown in this soil grows 3 times as fast. If it's something that blooms or bears fruit, it bears fruit in abundance. Anything grown in it hums with a quiet heartbeat. You can also define your own item with 2 aspects. Who wants what? It sounds like, Fenwyn, you're taking the green silk sash.
Yeah, that's mine.
I mean, I think the axe is mine.
Fantastic.
The branch that makes an odorless poison, I will take.
Very good. Theia, you taking the romance book?
I don't need a book to make people blush. Can I make my own thing?
Yep.
I think she wants to take something, a scrap of fabric, a memento from one of these kneeling bodies that were left to one side by the branch-torn knight. Something that recalls giving it in to one's self-loathing and overcoming it.
I like the idea of like you taking scraps of cloth from all of them and making like a quilt or something, you know?
Yes, she will take the red and the blue pieces and she will weave them together.
Oh, that's
into
good.
a belt.
I love it. You can write that with 2 aspects. I think we're pretty close enough to time. I do want to find out before we go, though, is you do have the ability to now go back to the Morning Tower along Pale Crossing. You don't have to, but this is the time you can do it. Also, you have reached a point in the campaign where no more new mysteries will be introduced. However, the Mandrake Monastery will start collecting Countdown. Is the plan for everyone to finally be back together on Pale Crossing?
I think so.
Yes, a boat ride.
Indeed. We will see that scene then when we start next time. Let's go ahead and go to end of session. Okay, end of session questions. You did resolve a mystery, so everyone gets credit for that one. Ash, you did roll a cinder. Did you act in accordance with your vows, even when it cost you something precious? I would say so. Well, did it cost you something precious?
I put my beloved ribbon on that rib.
Okay, fair enough. Did you name another enemy, ally, or shade, and in doing so, alter their fate? Yes.
Branch-torn knight.
Yeah. Theia. Did you roll a cinder, Theia? I think you did, didn't you? Yeah, you did.
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah. Did you perform publicly or intimately in a way that shifted the balance of power? Yes, just now. Did you spill blood instead of using voice, wit, or song?
I don't think I did.
Calyxe. Did you roll a cinder, Calyxe?
I did, yes.
Did you demonstrate reverence for root, stone, or soil over law, crown, or creed?
Yeah. Sorry, Ash.
Did you give a wild-eyed monologue about how the land is speaking to you even now? I think so.
Couple times, yeah.
Fenwyn. Did you roll a cinder, Fenwyn?
No. I don't want to talk about what I did in this session, but I didn't do any of this.
It was not the most amazing cinder. That's okay. You have to have your little down moments, right? Can't be a ninja all the time. Did you deliver an embittered monologue about the Dimning?
No, there's bits in there, but not a monologue.
Did you demonstrate your amazing physical talents to someone else's wonder and astonishment? I almost gave you this one because I was going to have Talmaron be on the parapets with you when you did your little throw the spear thing up.
I don't deserve it. Let's just move along.
You got your XP for resolving the mystery. Who has to stoke the fire next time? I know
Me.
that
Shrine's Fire.
Yeah, Shrine's Fire. Anybody else have to do one? Okay, so we will hear from you next time at the very start, Matt. And with that said, let's go to Stars and Wishes.
What a horrific struggle. What an awful struggle. I think at the beginning of this game, Jason, this is stars directed at Jason. At the beginning of this, we were like, struggles are these really fun things that we will approach every now and again, and it means we get to just be big, do big moves, do big combat, have a nice time with it. And the more we've interacted with struggles, the more we've realized that we're the monsters. And we're the ones that deserve to be beaten up. But the way that struggles can be so flexible with how they impact the entire party is brilliant. And I love that you don't know what's coming. I love that it's not just a hit point crunch. I love that it is a really beautifully narrative, get into trouble, fuck around and find out, and then get out of there kind of deal. This has been a really, really fun session. I really liked that struggle. I really liked it, even though I think it caused a couple of coronaries halfway through. Wren, I love Ash. I love that he's becoming a little bit more prideful. I love that we are just seeing this development. I love this. Bringing the ribbon back in was a really lovely touch. Having that there on hand was gorgeous. The descriptions that you gave of your family, the cries, what your father said, I wish I'd never born you. Like, Christ on a bike. There's a lot to Ash. There's so much to Ash, and he's always so quiet. And it just makes me want to dig deeper. It just makes me want to dig deeper constantly. So well done. Like, giving him as much of a solid background as you do. Like, it's just brilliant. Matt, Fenwyn on top of the parapets and the scene that you had with Theia crawling back into the window was so wonderfully described. And you couldn't have really told me it was improvised. It felt like something you guys had planned well in advance. It all worked together so beautifully, so heartbreakingly. The moment of like feeling exposed in front of Theia and then soothing her in the bath. It was gorgeous. The description of how Fenwyn sees the world and how he begins to develop these sort of additional senses is so brilliantly Daredevil. It really makes me want to see like how else he's going to develop, how else this is going to become part of him. It's a really well-built character, and I could do with more Fenwyn in every game I play. Michelle, Theia is the reveal of the brandished intercessor being the partner. The minute you said his name, I lost my mind. That was such a good working. That was so good. The description of like the Sun Queen's garden, what he was wearing, and then bringing that back to the Branch Torn Knight and reincorporating that, absolutely inspired. I love the way that you build stories. I love the way that you purposefully build narrative and you hold on to little bits that you can reuse and you use them at the exact right moment. The giving Ash the condition of destined for the hidden throne is such a fucking spanner in the works, and it's the most perfect thing you could have said. I couldn't imagine it being anything else at this point. I love the way your brain works, and obviously, as well, your song. It's got to be the songs. Little noise for the songs. Yeah, this has been absolutely gorgeous. Well done, everyone. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I had a great time. It was the session was mostly the struggle. It was a really like. The whole time we're doing the struggle, I was loving it, and the whole time I was just thinking, D&D could never. I mean, D&D could just never, and it was great. It was a scary struggle. Like it was alarming to see Fenwyn brought so low. It was alarming to have Talmron's head cut off his shoulders, and and Ash, like, going crazy with the spirits and, like tormenting Ash. And like, it was a lot, it was just a lot. And everyone's like pouring out their sins, and like, and for half the fight, the branch torn knight's just standing there, like, while you all are like losing it, It was pretty great. I really loved it. Good stuff. Star to Jazzy, who wrote this struggle and this mystery, is really fabulous. It's got the whole branch torn knight mystery has that flavor of like Arthurian, like, fantasy is so great. They're very mythic, very chivalric and romantic, but there's also just enough like kind of weirdness and darkness to make it fit this game. Just really enjoyable. I absolutely love the whole, pretty much from like, like Fenwyn at the top of the parapet, the whole scene with Theia, that was just so great. And it was kind of like bookended really nicely in the struggle as well, in a kind of ironic way, sort of. Just really, really dug that. I love how Wren, I love how Ash acquitted himself in the fight there at the end, and the plot twist of that condition with the hidden throne was pretty fantastic. Really good stuff. And I really, really, Jess, I really loved like this struggle Calyxe is going through, this like questioning of faith, this, the way you brought it back to this whole like 30-year sojourn in the woods, like all of it was just so good. And for a session that was mostly a combat, there was so much character development and emotion going on. It was great.
I have to say, I'm really loving Calyxe's like, look, I'm going to bite your fucking tongue off. And no, I don't do that anymore. I'm not about that life no more. It's really lovely to see you go to the line and then like, okay, yeah, I can't do that anymore. I've got to be reasonable. I thought this session was really interesting for a couple of reasons. One was like, we managed to come up with a really satisfying conclusion to the branch torn knight without ever once investigating anything there. Most of the clues that we came up with were
off-site.
They were, when you were like listing the places we could investigate, we were like, oh god, we've not really engaged with any of this. But the thing is, it ties so well in, and it's such a flexible way of doing it, because I imagine if this was a longer campaign and you were struggling to manage countdowns and stuff, you would probably have to approach some mysteries like this, and it worked out really, really well. And I really love that for some reason. The struggle was, I think, my favorite struggle we've done. I want to say that me and Jason had a good, the bad, and the ugly face off when I failed that dice roll, and I was like, is he going to say, unless you want to stoke the old fire? And then I was like, well, if he doesn't, I'm not going to suggest it, because this is too interesting, like, to be like completely useless in front of everyone, and everyone sees it and everyone knows it, because it just kind of fit with something I'm trying to kind of work in, and I was more than happy to go with it. And I think that
I just wanted to trick you all into having Burke at the Morning Tower.
Well, I'm sure that his knowledge of trinkets will come in very handy fighting this dragon that we've got to defeat. But like, the thing is, there's been obviously a huge influx of people into like the Gauntlet Discord and stuff, obviously because of Quinn's Quest and stuff recently. And a lot of people are talking about like, well, hang on, is it not really feel bad if you roll a miss? And you're like, no, because if you really want it and you really can think of a way to make it interesting, unless I wasn't killed, it was just too interesting for me to burn the fire, like to do a fire and move on. But yeah, anyway, so that's that. Wren, your old fire at the start was just absolutely flawless. Absolutely love it. You've got a way of doing your old fires or your masks of the past and keys that is so consistently evocative and great. I love listening to them. So huge start for that. I love what's going on with you and Calyxe. Every time you mention, actually, maybe because we've kind of not really talked about the throw that much in the last few episodes and sessions. We've been like, oh yeah, we're getting down to the crunch now, aren't we? And someone's gonna have to make a move soon. I don't know if I like where it's going. I'll just say that much now. Put that on record. Michelle, thank you again for being a willing and generous scene partner in these intimate scenes. like we didn't plan it, but we did like throw a couple of ideas together. But the funniest thing of that planning was, can we do it quickly before Jason decides to throw something at the like through the window at us, like some awful thing. So we just needed to kind of make sure we did it. And also, like, it shows how flexible the structure of this game is, that essentially that make camp scene started with our post 30-year hiatus reunion like 5 hours ago and ended 90 minutes ago, and so much happened in that time. Yeah, loving it. Again, I love all the plot twists in this. I love the condition that came at the end. Michelle, fair play. That was a wonderful condition to give. And yeah, the reveal of the intercessor as well, being a little bit, it's just good stuff, guys.
Jason, you're a very bad man. That's your star. No, I love, Jazzy wrote a fantastic.
But see, I didn't write this struggle.
I know. Jazzy wrote a fantastic struggle and a fantastic mystery. But it's lovely to see such a masterclass of how to utilize it and bring it off the page and tweak it ever so slightly to make it fit exactly what we're doing.
Adapting on the fly.
Yeah, and it was beautiful to see. Like, I love that the paint the scene thing. It's not just like flavor. It's not just like, oh, you can like make up your little thing and then we'll get back to the text. It's like, no, we're going to incorporate this in and make the world all of ours. Like, I really love how you do that. It's nice to see it demonstrated so beautifully for everybody. Being GM by you has made me a better GM. So star for that. Wren, your old fire. It was so lovely. It was so delightful and so sweet, this little party where everyone's just having a bit too much of a good time. And poor Ash is being responsible for silly little pluck. And it was so charming. And it was exactly because of the tragedy of where Ash is now that charming loveliness just jumped through in your narration. But we know that it doesn't last. We know that there's something dark under the surface, which just makes it so tasty. And I love that when you narrate these moments, you don't feel the need to put that in our faces. You let us have that little levity and let us draw the surrounding texture of it because your performance puts it there. It's just wonderful. Like, your narrations are genuinely sensational. Jess, I said to you in the break that I miss when Calyxe was scary in a more straightforward way. I'm glad that we seem to be back to original flavor Calyxe with a twist of lemon, perhaps. I was more scared of her when she was trying to be sincere, and now I don't know what she's gonna do. My favorite time with Jess Jewell is when I don't know what she's gonna do. She's so good. She's such a good character. It would be so easy to take this Crux Druid who's just like a nasty, scary, scary boy and just do nasty things and do the nastiest, most messed up narrations you could possibly think of and do nothing else. And that would still be a super fun time and a fun way to play the character, but you've brought so much more to it. You've brought so much more. You've dug into every depth of every like old fire prompt and everything on the page, and you've made it more. And I love it. I love Calyxe. Love you. And yeah, Matt, I like scheming with you. I love our little texts, our little text message sessions just before being like, hey, is it cool if this happens? Yeah, it's cool. I mean, Jason might throw a gestalt through the window before we get to that, but let's like, but I want to have this moment, and we never overplan it. We're not scripting anything out, but we're finding a way to like play in like an intimate space as characters in a safe way and sort of weave our stories together in a lovely way. And it's super nice. It's a super gift to have someone you can do that with. So stuff for
that. This is a great session. Matt, Fenwyn, I always say that I love seeing the journey that Fenwyn is on. And I really thought that in the fight with the Branch Torn Knight, it would be Fenwyn's redemption time. Like, it would come to a friend, and it was the complete opposite. And the fact that you took that and rolled with it, because you had options, but like you said, sometimes it's more interesting to fail and see where that takes you. And so now I'm just still so curious about what that means for Fenwyn in this journey that we have, the ever shrinking journey time that we have together. It's so interesting. Fenwyn, he is a person who seems very burdened by the things that he has done in the past, and I don't know. It's just really interesting. I'm wondering what this fire that you're gonna do next time is gonna reveal even more. Jess, Calyxe, the flip that happened. I'm not gonna lie. Everything you said to Ash in this past game threw me, complimentary and not. So the whole Lord Ash King Ash thing in the garden with Burke, Burke, I'm calling him Burke now. With Burke was just it took me aback, and I was just so trying to understand and figure out where Calyxe is at mentally, and I felt like the second I got it turned, and now I don't know anything anymore, and that's fun. It's so fun to play with you, and yeah, just this very weird, unhealthy relationship that Ash and Calyxe have. Theia, Michelle, Theia's old fire, the burnished intercessor, and the song, and the fact that Romulo took the secret of the name to his grave, all of this just it just builds up so much of a lore that is so distant, so in the past, but still informs so much of who Theia is and what it means for the world in general, because she is such a powerful being. I love how that carries through, but then also Theia is very mortal in the way that she interacts with Fenwyn and some of the other NPCs that are around it. She's just really complex and emotion driven sometimes, in a way that makes me feel for her a lot. Jason, and I guess by proxy Jazzy, what the fuck? What was that? The whole branch torn night fight, there will be moments, Matt, on the recording where you just hear me go, fuck. Because that was, for me, one of the most intense struggles that we've done. And I like a struggle, but that was a lot. And also just having that inform things going forward. Also, Michelle, I have a question for you. I guess, did I act destined for the hidden throne?
Oh yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I think you did.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, no, this was great. Terrible and great.
Also, very funny moment in the break where we were all saying, "Oh God, this struggle's really spicy," and Michelle was like, "Oh, I've not looked at it yet." Brought her phone up and was like, "Fuck!" Oh no.